Hello, everyone, and thank you for coming to the very first WitToast conference in-person event. And my name is Barkha Herman. I'm the founder of WitToast, and I am going to present on the topic that is very dear to my heart, which is why speaking at tech conferences matters. So go ahead, follow me. Next.
Okay, that's better. Sorry.
Yeah, no worries. All right, so let's talk about technology. So technology moves super fast. How many of you actually know this? Technology moves very fast. And the way I feel is that if you're not feeling left out sometimes, then you're not paying attention. Because there's so much new stuff every day that's happening. And it's really difficult to keep up with it. So, what is a RAG? What are LLMs? What is ChatGPT? What happened to Bard? It became Gemini. All these things happened in the last month. So these are some of the things that are happening right now. But whenever you're watching this, it's the same. There's so much new tech happening. And it's very difficult to keep up with it. Next. So the good thing about tech conferences is that it is an opportunity for you to walk in and in 1 day or 2 days get immersed in all kinds of new tech, because you have tens of speakers or sometimes hundreds of speakers all presenting on completely different things and new technology, and all of it is distilled to its essence. It's presented in a beautiful fashion. You get to meet the experts, you get to meet the learners, the people who are in the audience, and you get to see demos and you learn about the players. So it's almost like a condensed knowledge dump in a day. So tech conferences are amazing. I remember going to my first tech conference and I just fell in love. I was like, where has this been all my life, And so tech conferences are great for learners. And as a young mother, so that's me with my 2 little monkeys, I got married young, I had 2 kids, and I was working full time, and I was also finishing up my computer science degree because my first degree was in management. So I was doing all this stuff. So obviously, didn't really go to a lot of tech conferences when I was younger because it was just too much. It was a lot. So when the kids got a little older and I started going to tech conferences, I was like, oh my God, this is so cool. I've been missing out. I didn't know this happened. Well, I kind of knew, but I kind of said, it's probably just, geeky guys hanging out, talking about something. But then I went to a tech conference and it was like, oh my God, information, knowledge, learning opportunity. Everyone was very helpful. They were sharing their knowledge. They were giving it away. They were sharing code. They were sharing samples. All this information. And all in 1 day, and especially in that situation where, I've got the princess and the devil taking care of the 2 kids, I needed that condensed format. And so it was such a growth opportunity, so I fell in love and I started going to conferences. So as I did, one of the things I did notice was that there weren't any women speaking. There were very few, if any. So it was a lot of guys, very excited and I kind of, from that perspective, being where I was in my life at the time, being a working mom, finishing my degree, having 2 kids, wanting to be the best mom I could be, so spending a lot of attention and time with them, I kind of understood that, hey, if you are single, if you don't have household duties, of course you have more time to play, learn, and present. So I got it. I wasn't angry, but I noticed the gap. And I came to the conclusion that my husband, who also happens to be in tech, can't fix it for me, right? My colleagues, most of them guys, can't fix it for me. So it was up to me to fix it. And so this is my journey, and this is when I started speaking at tech conferences. So here I am. This is a recent picture. Unfortunately, I don't have any old pictures. I'm sure they're somewhere, but I don't have. But I started speaking in tech conferences more than a decade ago. I think it's coming close to 2 decades. But I got to a point where I was like, somebody's got to do something, and that somebody is me. Because, as Gandhi says, be the change you want to see in the world. I wanted to see a change in the world. I started speaking at a tech conference. And, when I started speaking at the conferences, something crazy happened. Something crazy happened. So if you go to the next slide, first of all, I started getting job offers. I've got my current job. So let me tell you the story of my current job. What happened was in 2017, I spoke at a conference in Jacksonville, Florida. And, I drove all the way there. I spoke at the conference, and then I was leaving, and this young lady comes up to me, and she says, hey, I was very inspired by your talk. And I was like, oh, thank you. I was grateful. And so her name was Valerie. And Valerie said, do you realize you're the only female speaker at this conference? Now, at this point, I had been speaking for more than a decade. I was kind of like, but stopped paying attention to how many women, even though that's the reason I started speaking. So I didn't pay attention. I was like, oh, that's interesting, because by this time, there were a lot more women speakers, but not parity, but still there were more speakers. And so Valerie said, you've inspired me. I'm going to start speaking at tech events. And Valerie, if you met Valerie, she's larger than life. She's amazing and very outgoing. She has the personality of a speaker. So I was encouraged. I was like, this is great. Let's stay in touch. Well, 2 years later, I was at a conference, and she was there. She was speaking. And I was touched. I was like, this is great. So we reconnected, we stayed connected, and she invited me to be on her podcast that she was running at the time. So, all these doors opening for me for just showing up. I didn't go to Valerie and say, hey, you should do something. I showed up. I did my thing. And then in 2022, December, Valerie reaches out to me and says, hey, I work for this company called Startree, and they're looking for a developer advocate, a senior developer advocate. You would be perfect for it. And I said, all right, I'll apply. And here I am. I'm working for the company for more than a year now. So I got my job through that. I've gotten a lot more job offers because of my speaking, because people notice you, and people come and they see you as an authority. They see you as somebody who has command of something. So there's all these benefits of speaking, not just attending. So attending is great, and I did attend for years, but I started speaking for a reason, and it changed my life. I got invited to speak more. I've been on panels, discussions. I've been on several meetups. I keep getting invited to speak more and more. And so, the kind of, it's like a snowball effect. You start like a little pea, and then before you know it, you grow. Your career grows. So that happens. I got side gigs. I hosted a South Florida Women in Technology event in 2022, and one of my neighbors came to attend, and she's an entrepreneur, and she ended up hiring me as a partial CTO for her company, and I kind of, got her, stabilized her company, and now she's selling the company, so she's doing great. So that happened because of the fact that we met at a barbecue in the neighborhood. I invited her to attend one of my events, and she saw me speak, and she was like, oh, you're brilliant. can you help me out? I want to pay you to do some work. So that happened because of speaking. So it's powerful. My network grew. So yeah, picking up people at conferences and barbecues. Those are the extreme examples of my life, and they're concrete examples. So this is what happens when you speak at events. My confidence grew, of course. When somebody comes, I speak because I want to speak. I'm very bullish on a tech. I'm excited about it. I'm like a little kid, and I want to tell people about it. And then people come to you and say things like, "You inspired me." And then they follow up and they speak. That is amazing. That gives you wings. That gives you confidence. That is undescribable. Somebody actually taking you as an example and holding you that high. And as women especially, and men too, we tend to put ourselves down all the time. This kind of feedback is amazing. Amazing for personal growth, for confidence. So that's one of the reasons. Every time I spoke, I also learned something new. Because I'll tell you what, I speak mostly on technology, unlike today. And when I speak about technology, there's always people who are like, well, what about this? And if you present with an open mind and an open heart, you kind of go down that rabbit hole and go, oh, what about that? I never saw it that way. And every person that kind of interacts with you will bring their thought, their angle, and give you their feedback. And that helps you think of problems in different ways, grow in different ways. Because every time somebody actually gives you some feedback or asks you a question, that's a tangent you didn't take, because it's coming from somebody else. So not only are you presenting on something, and when you're presenting on something, you get better at it, but presenting itself makes you better at it because it teaches you angles you never thought about, right? So my influence grew, of course. So I ran this program similar to WitToast at Microsoft, where I was working for 4 years. I actually trained other women to speak internally, and then I did it within my Software Women and Technology group, and people kept asking me for more, so I started this organization. So my influence grew not because I was like, listen to me, but people were like, hey, can you help us out, right? So it was a user-driven influence. It's not me going and saying, everybody, pay attention to me, right? So it does help, okay. So I wanted to bring this topic. Last year, Dev Trinity, which is a European event, conference, published this woman at their conference page, because what they wanted to do was they wanted to have women speakers. The only problem is that this woman doesn't exist. She's an AI-generated woman. That name doesn't exist. She does not work at Coinbase. She does not contribute to Ether. And she got found out. And so there were men and women speakers from Amazon and Microsoft. So Scott Hanselman was one of them. I forget the lady who was from Amazon who had agreed to speak at Dev Trinity. They withdrew their application. So there's a need for female speakers, so much so that people are making imaginary people. So this is not the first time it happened. There was another panel at a conference where they paid actors to come and pretend like they were women in tech and did this. Can you believe this? Well, I started WitToast as a response to this problem, and also because I wanted to help women speak. And so my goal is to get real women who are interested in having real talks, real panel discussions, and presenting real content, present to the world. And that's why I'm here. That's why I have these amazing women who you're going to be hearing from, amazing lineup of very accomplished, very intelligent women who have a lot to say, and they're going to be sharing their knowledge with you. Go ahead. So, if you are not a member, join WitToast. And if WitToast is for women in technology, of course. If you're not a woman in tech, though, or the next one, connect with me, and I will find resources for you. If you want to speak, reach out. This is my LinkedIn. Definitely connect with me, and I will help you get there. I'm actually working on a men's program as well, so I will go ahead and launch that, and I will help whoever needs help. Okay? And then finally, if you liked what I had to say, please evaluate. Give me some feedback. Give me some love. Feedback is amazing. Good, bad, ugly. Give me something that I can improve on. So please give me some feedback. And thank you so much for listening.